Hello and welcome to this lesson on electricity. This time we'll be looking at electricity in the home. I am your presenter, Alex Nkumbi. Alright, so before we go to our objectives or lesson outcomes, I want to inform you that I have decided to divide the topic electricity in the home into two subtopics. So the first one will be looking at the following outcomes. We'll be looking at describing the basic circuits of a standard house. Then we'll identify parts of a 3-pin plug. Then we will state functions of the switch, fuse, and the earth wire. And then in the other lesson that will follow, it will still be on electricity in the home. We shall look at the cost of electricity, where we shall discuss on how to calculate the cost, the money that has to be paid for the energy that we use. We shall look at how we can reduce the cost or save energy. We shall look at we will look at safety with electricity. We'll look at dangers associated with electricity. We shall look at causes of accidents and how they can be reduced. That is what we are going to look at in the next lesson. That will complete our subtopic electricity in the home. So for now, these are our lesson outcomes. So we are going straight into describing the basic circuits of a standard house. So it's a standard house we are talking about here, and nothing complicated like a 3-story building or a very big building with a number of circuits. But we are looking at a standard house which we expect to have only the 3 circuits. Okay, so let's go and look at the wiring or the circuits in a standard house. Okay, so the first point here is the supply cable, which we also call the service cable. So the service cable, like here in Zambia, is that cable that ZESCO brings from the pole to our house. Usually it is common in Zambia that the supply cable is overhead, but it is also common here in Zambia. We have seen where cables are underground. Okay, supply cables are underground. Okay, so this is our supply cable, and the supply cable is made up of 2 cables. Inside there is the neutral and the live. Okay, the live is the one that brings an electric current, and the neutral has a function of only completing the circuit, so that there is a return passage for current that was coming into an installation, so it has to go back. So that's the reason why this neutral at a local substation is buried to the ground, or we simply say it is earthed. Okay, so the supply cable first enters the supply company's main fuse. Okay, and I have to mention here that these fuses and the ones you're able to see in the consumer unit or distribution box have been replaced by circuit breakers. The circuit breakers look like this. Okay, so it's a circuit breaker in its off state. These are also circuit breakers in their on state. Usually when it goes down, we say it has tripped. Okay, now let's go back to our circuits. So from there, from the main fuse box, or where we expect a breaker here, usually this breaker is rated 60 amps. This breaker, when we take it down or when we drop it to be in this position, like in this position here, like this one, it simply means that there is no power coming to the house. We have cut off power supply to the entire house. The bulbs will not light here, the sockets will be off, our cooker will not work when we actually have this circuit breaker in its off state. So it is the main circuit, the supply company's main breaker. We may not say fuse in this case, because fuses have been replaced with circuit breakers, and circuit breakers are more effective than fuses. Okay, so from the main supplies, from the supply company's main circuit breaker, we have our meter here. Okay, in the recent past, the meters were able to tell us how much energy we have used, so that we can be billed from here. A person from the supply company would come and read the meter, and then they'll bill us. But these days we know that we are in the prepaid era, whereby here you have to buy energy that you are going to use, and instead the meter will simply be telling you how much you are remaining with, so you can control how you are using your power. Okay, so from the meter we go into the consumer unit, which is also sometimes called the distribution box. Now in the consumer unit we have a main switch here, okay, and then from there we have a number of circuit breakers. So these fuses are not present now, it's circuit breakers which are used. So we have 30 amps circuit breaker which is connected to the cooker. Okay, the cooker is an electric stove. Then we have another 30 which is connected to the ring main circuit. So we shall talk about the ring main circuit and what it is. We shall talk about, and then we can have an immersion heater or a geyser sometimes connected also. So we may have a 15 amps immersion heater, and we have a 5 amps breaker that is connected to the lighting system of the house. Okay, so in short, in a standard house there are 3 circuits. These 3 circuits are, as you can see, the ring main circuit here, the cooker circuit here, and the lighting circuit here. Okay, so let's now go on and talk about each one of them. Okay, so we begin with the ring main circuit. So the ring main circuit, how is it? I mean, it's made up of the live wire and the neutral running around the house into 2 complete circles. Okay, so in the walls where the sockets are placed, there is a live running around, and then there is also making a complete circle, and there is also a neutral running making a complete circle. Now sockets are connected to them, these 2 cables, the live running around in a circle in our house. Okay, in the bedrooms if we have sockets there, in the sitting room. Okay, it is from these sockets that we connect a TV set. When you are watching TV, you have connected, you have plugged it into the mains. That's what we call the power supply. This the at the point where we are tapping off energy. Okay, then we are using the ring main circuit. We can connect a fan, a pressing iron, a refrigerator. If you are playing music, you have your hi-fi system connected there, then you are making use of the ring main circuit. The ring main circuit is connected to earth by the earth wire. Okay, we shall talk about the function of the earth wire very soon, why it's important that we should have an earth wire. The circuit breaker for the ring main circuit, like I said earlier, is 30 amps. Although in some houses in Zambia you find that even a 15 amps is used here. But then if you use 15 amps breaker, it means that when you connect a lot of appliances at once, it's likely that your breaker is going to trip, cutting off supply of current to your ring main circuit. So a 30 amps breaker is much better, because you can connect a number of appliances working at the same time. Okay, so if we go back to our circuit diagram, this is the circuit we are talking about here. So it's connected to 30 amp, yeah, it's connected to a 30 amp breaker. That's its live here. So the live runs around, as you can see here, making a circle. So here we have a socket, it has a live there, and then the neutral also makes its own circle, you can see here, and it's also connected to the socket. Remember, the function of the neutral is to complete the circuit, so that the current coming can have a way going out. Okay, completing the circuit is the purpose of the neutral. And then we have E there representing the earthing. So the dashed line here represents the earthing running around it's the third loop we have running around the ring main circuit, and it is buried outside the house using a copper rod, or in some cases just attached to a water pipe that is buried underground. Okay, and usually the earthing is naked outside. Doesn't pose a great danger, as we shall discuss earlier. So this is the ring main circuit. The point where we tap off energy is called the socket, and it looks like this. Okay, so as you can see, this socket is double. You can use this one. You can plug in a 3-pin plug here, or at this point. Okay, so basically that's what the ring main circuit is all about. So the ring main circuit, whenever you hear of the ring main circuit, just know that it is that circuit where we connect our TV, where we connect our fan, where we connect our pressing iron, and many other appliances we may be using in the sitting room and in our bedrooms especially. Okay, then apart from the ring main circuit, we go to another circuit, and this time we look at the let's look at the lighting circuit. Excuse me. So the lighting circuit is connected to a 5 amps breaker, because the current that it demands is very low. Okay, so the lighting circuit demands very low current, and that's why it is connected to only a 5 amps breaker. Take note that the lights or bulbs are connected in parallel, so that this one is independent from this one and that one. Okay, that's the advantage, and it also makes sure that they have the same voltage across them. So each light here can be switched on with its own independent switch. So this one can be switched on here, and take note also that the switch is pressed along the live and not along the neutral. Okay, along the live and not along the neutral. We shall talk about that later. Okay, this is another type of switch which is called two-way switch, where you can switch it on at this point or at that point. Okay, like for example, along a staircase, if you are moving along, if you are living in a 2-story building, you are going up, you can switch it on from the bottom of the staircase, and when you go up, you can switch off from that point. That's the meaning of the type of switch we have here. Okay, so one more thing that I must mention here is that the cables used in the wiring of these circuits do not have the same thickness or cross-section area. The ring main circuit usually is 2.5 square millimeters. People usually say 2.5 millimeters, and it makes them to think that we are talking about the thickness or the diameter of the wire. Instead, what we are talking about when we say 2.5, it is square millimeters, meaning the cross-section area of the wire that is used in this case. So the ring main circuit may be at 2.5 square millimeters. The lighting circuit may be at 1.5 square millimeters, and the cooker circuit is thicker. This one has a greater cross-section area. The minimum it can have is 3 square millimeters, as we shall see later. Remember, the size of current that is demanded is what is actually determining the thickness of the cable. As we said earlier, if you use a thin cable and you are drawing a large current through it, it will get heated up, because thin cables have higher resistance. So if the current increases through them, they can get hot and they can cause a fire. So that is overloading of the cable. So you have to ensure that each type of a circuit has the correct thickness of wire or the correct size of wires used. Okay, so we have talked about the lighting circuit. Here, this circuit is where electric bulbs or lamps are connected. Its circuit breaker is 5 amps, and take note that bulbs are connected in parallel. And this is a picture showing us circuit breakers. Okay, then finally our last type of circuit for a standard house is the cooker circuit. So for the cooker circuit, we are saying this is the circuit found in the kitchen. This circuit is actually found in the kitchen. This is where the cooker is connected, or the electric stove if you want. In old houses, those houses which were built by government a long time ago, like for the council, you would find that in the kitchen where you are supposed to connect the electric stove, there is a pipe or a conduit running from the wall, and there are 3 cables there. There is a live, neutral, and earthing. Those cables were thicker than any other cable in the house. So that is where you connect your electric cooker. But these days, with modern designs, you find that there is a what we call the cooker unit or control unit, where actually you can connect your cables for the cooker. And take note that when you buy an electric cooker, especially those big ones like the 4 plates cooker, it doesn't come with a cable that is supposed to be plugged into the wall. No, you have to buy thick cables to connect yourself. Okay, so we are saying this circuit is found in the kitchen, and this is where the cooker is connected. The circuit breaker for this circuit is 30 amps. 30 amps just for the cooker alone, because it demands a lot of electricity. Remember, it has to do with the heating effect of an electric current in order for it to be able to work out. So there is need for there's high demand for current here. Okay, so this means that we can switch on at least all the 4 plates at a go, or we can switch some plates and we're even baking. So that is the reason why the rating is 30 amps. This circuit has the thickest cables as compared to the ring and the lighting circuit. Reason being that a large current is drawn through these cables, so if they are thin, they can be getting hot. So they need to be thick so as to prevent heating of cables. So it's not a good idea to find you go and put your electric cooker at a socket in the sitting room like this one. You plug it in here and you see this one is turning brown. You just say, no, it's because it's working. It simply means there's overheating of cables, and at one point you can even have a fire. So that's risking. Okay, so from the cooker circuit, so I can simply say we have looked at the 3 types of circuits that are found in a standard house. So we have said there is the ring main circuit, we have the cooker circuit, so it's just here where the cooker is connected, and this is found in the kitchen. Then we have the lighting circuit, which we sometimes call the overhead circuit because lights are usually up. And then we also mentioned the fact that the ring main circuit is as a third loop, which is the earth, which is connected to the earth wire outside, or simply to a pipe buried underground. And then you can see here that the the consumer unit is also connected to earth. The cooker is connected to earth. Okay, all right, so we have looked at the three main circuits found in a standard house: the ring main circuit, the lighting circuit, and the cooker circuit. Now we can move a step further and look at the 3-pin plug. Okay, remember we said the point from where we tap power is a socket like this one. So it has 3 pins that are supposed to enter here. The one on top here is the earthing, this one could be the neutral, and the other one could be the live. Okay, so now it's not ideal, it's not advisable, like we see in many cases. You just enter, you get 2 naked wires, you just push them in here. You even use a stopper of a ball pen so that you can easily force the cables here. That's not safe. The safe way of tapping power off from a socket is by use of a 3-pin plug. Okay, so a 3-pin plug is called so because you can see it has 3 pins here. So here we have the outside, how it looks like, and then this is the inside of a 3-pin plug. So you look at the parts. It's very important that you understand each part of the 3-pin plug. But before that, let's look at what a 3-pin plug is used for. So a 3-pin plug is used to connect appliances safely to the mains. Okay, it consists of 3 pins: the live, the neutral, and the earthing. And it is those 3 pins which give it the name 3-pin plug. A 3-pin plug also contains a fuse. Okay, so we can see here that this has 3 cables, 3 pins. This is the earthing. One of those could be the live, or this one could be the live, the other one the neutral, or this could be the neutral, the other one the live. But when we look inside, we are sure of which one is the live and which one is the neutral. So inside here we have this cable which is blue, or sometimes it may be black. This one is the neutral, and the purpose of the neutral is to complete the circuit, like we said earlier on the 3 types of circuits we have in a standard house. And then this one, which is brown in color, is the live, with the purpose of bringing current to an electrical appliance. The live sometimes is red. Okay, so the color code for the live is red or brown. The color code for the neutral is blue or black. Then we have this cable here, which is the earthing. So the earthing can be yellow completely, or it can be green completely, or like in this case shown here, it can be both green and yellow at the same time. So it has yellow and some green stripes, like you can see there. So it is very important for you to remember the color coding for a 3-pin plug. The live is red or brown, the neutral is blue or black, the earthing is yellow or green, or it can be yellow and green at the same time. And then we have the fuse. So the way the 3 pins are positioned, this is the neutral, which I said could be this one. Then this one is the live. The pin here is actually at this point here. Okay, as you can see, they are along a straight line. The neutral and the earthing, and the live. So if this is the neutral, then the live is here. But current coming from a live is not going direct into this pin, but first of all it has to pass through the fuse before it can be tapped off into the appliance. Okay, so we will look at the reason why current has to first of all pass through this fuse here. Take note, the fuse is connected along the live and not along the neutral. Okay, so to go through, we are saying that the live is red or brown in color, and it is the one that brings an electric current to the appliance. The neutral is blue or black in color, and it completes the circuit. The earthing is green or yellow, or it can be both green or yellow, green and yellow at the same time, and it is safe for safety purposes, and we shall look at that very soon. Okay, so we have looked at the structure of a 3-pin plug. Please take note of where each one of the cables is, the color coding, and where the fuse is, the functions. All right, okay, now let's go to the last part of our lesson. We want to look at functions of the switch, fuse, and the earth wire. Okay, so the switch provides means of cutting off current to the appliance when not in use or when being cleaned. Okay, so that's the function of the fuse, of the switch. Let's see now why the switch must be placed along the live. Okay, so they allow me to draw something here so that we can use it to explain. So if this is our supply cable, okay, and then that's our electrical appliance there, that's the appliance here. Okay, and then this is the neutral. This one is the live, then this one is the neutral. Okay, so the live is where the switch is supposed to be placed. Okay, so that if we are working on this appliance at a particular time, we can just open this switch and work on the appliance. So this is the correct way. It means that current is not actually reaching this appliance, so it is safe to touch this appliance. Now imagine that we connected it this way. We connected the switch in this manner. That is our appliance there. Okay, and then this is our live cable, and then along the neutral, that is where we have our switch. Okay, and it is open like that. Okay, and we want to clean this appliance. So what will happen is that, quite alright, this appliance will not be working. Imagine this is an electric heater, then you touch the element inside because you want to clean. So what is going to happen is that touching the element, especially if you are earthed, meaning you are barefooted, you are going to complete the circuit. You yourself worked as the neutral. Okay, so that is what is going to happen. So it will not be safe to connect it. Yes, it will not be working, but if you touch the element inside or any part that is connected to the live, then you can complete the circuit, and that can result into an electric shock. If you are in a wet environment, that can even be fatal. So this is a wrong way. Okay, so that explains why the switch must always be placed along the neutral. The reason is because, along the live, the reason is because it is this type that brings electric current into an appliance. The neutral simply completes the circuit. So if you put a switch here and you open it, quite right, this appliance will not be working, simply because the path is not complete for current to flow. But if you touch anywhere, you can complete the circuit yourself and you can get an electric shock. So that's the reason why it's not advisable to connect the switch along the neutral. Okay, so the switch provides means of cutting off current to the appliance when not in use, or when being worked on, or when being cleaned. Okay, then we go to the fuse. The fuse protects an appliance from damage due to excessive current. Okay, there are a number of reasons that can result into excessive current. One of them is a short circuit. A short circuit is whereby the live comes into contact with a neutral, maybe, or the live comes into contact with the metal casing of the appliance, or when it comes into contact with the metal casing of an appliance, and this appliance has an earthing, it's like the earthing has become the live itself, and that would draw a large current, because the earthing draws a large current because the earth is at zero potential, and the earth itself, the earthing is made of a large copper rod that is buried in the ground, which is almost of negligible resistance, so it draws a lot of current, so a larger current passes through it. Okay, so I'm talking about two reasons, some of the reasons that could result into excessive current. Excessive current could be due to a short circuit. Okay, when you have the live coming into contact with a metal casing, for example, that's a short circuit. Another reason why we can have a large current is actually due to overloading. Okay, you use a very small cable, you connect it to a pressing iron, or an extension cable, or adapter as we call it, which cannot accommodate a pressing iron. You use it, then it means you have overloaded those cables. So instead of the cables burning, which can cause a fire, the fuse will protect the circuit by this wire simply melting and cutting off the circuit. So the picture here is actually showing us a fuse. It has a metal casing here and the metal casing here, and the thin wire there is connected to this and that. The thin wire making the fuse is of low melting point, so it easily melts when it becomes hot, thereby cutting the supply of current to the circuit. Another reason why we may have excessive current could be due to voltage surge. Sometimes the voltage will just surge, and then that may result into current also increasing, becoming excessive. But when you are defining a fuse, or you are trying to explain what a fuse is used for, do not say a fuse protects an electrical appliance from damage due to excessive voltage. No, it is excessive current. Okay, because it's current, when it becomes large, that causes the heating of that thin wire and the melting results. Okay, so that's the fuse there, and that is its function, and that is the one we can see in the 3-pin plug we mentioned earlier here. And that you can see the current has to pass through the fuse before it goes into an electrical appliance. So the fuse here cannot be connected along the neutral, because the neutral will simply complete the circuit. If it is connected along the neutral, then it means when there is excessive current, that current will damage an appliance, because it will have nothing to stop it from entering into an appliance. But with a fuse here, it will melt before actually current enters into an appliance, and this fuse can easily be replaced, okay, than allowing the excessive current to flow through an appliance, causing damage. Okay, so that's our fuse there. And then there's also what we call fuse rating. On fuse rating here, we are talking about the correct fuse to be used. So fuse rating, a correct fuse to be used in an appliance should be slightly higher in size than the current demand of the appliance. For example, a 10 amp appliance may use 13 amps fuse and not 10 exactly or anything below. Here you find questions on multiple choice sometimes to say an electric appliance is rated so and so, then they ask you which one is the correct fuse. When you calculate the current, you find that maybe the current is 10 amps. But when you look at the answers provided on multiple choice A, B, C, D, you find that 10 amps is not there. Or 10 amps may be there actually. Okay? So you cannot pick 10 amps or anything less than 10 amps. The correct fuse must be slightly higher than the demanded current. If the fuse is lower, let's say our appliance is 10 amps, and then we use maybe exactly 10 amps fuse, what will be happening is that if there is any slight increase in current, the fuse will be blowing. So it means we have to be replacing the fuse many times. Okay, so it has to be slightly higher to accommodate that bit of increase in current. But that doesn't mean that we need to use an excessively big fuse, for example 15 amps, when the current demand is only 10 amps. It means that this fuse cannot stop an excessive current of 15 amps to flow into an appliance and damage it before it can actually break the circuit. So the fuse must not be excessively larger than the demanded current, but must be slightly higher, and it should not be exact or below. Okay, so that's about fuse rating. That's how we come up with correct fuse rating. All right, from here now we look at the earthing wire, or simply the earthing. Okay, so the earthing provides safety in electrical circuits. Now the earthing usually protects the user, a person who is using an electrical appliance. Okay, it is connected to the metal casing of an electrical appliance. Imagine you are cooking on your electrical cooker, and then somehow maybe your hot plate is about to finish. Therefore the nichrome wire inside is in, because the powder inside that electrical wire hot plate is almost finishing, so the nichrome wire is in contact with the metal casing. If the electric cooker is not earthed, it has no earthing, it simply means that the entire metal casing of your electrical cooker is live. So if you touch it when you are barefooted, and to make matters worse, if you are standing on a wet floor or your skin is wet, you can receive a terrible electric shock. In fact, it can even lead to death, because what matters with the current, what actually kills is not the size of voltage but the size of current. And also what matters is which path has this current taken through your body. If it passes through your heart, then your heart can easily be stopped from beating because of just 100 milliamps of current passing through the heart. So that's the reason why you will find that in most homes an electric cooker is placed on a rubber, so that in case there is a fault, the earthing is not correctly connected, and then there is a short circuit whereby the live is in contact with the metal casing, at least you'll be protected even if you are barefooted, because you are standing on a rubber and therefore you are not earthed. So you will not provide a complete circuit to earth. Okay, so but in a normal situation where the earthing is installed properly, what will happen is that the earthing is connected to the metal casing of your electric cooker. So in case there is a connection, the live comes into contact with the metal casing, immediately you switch on this cooker, what will happen is that the breaker for the cooker will drop immediately, or we say it will trip. What that simply means is that when current flows through the earthing, there is a large current. Like I said, the earthing has a path that is almost negligible in terms of resistance, so it allows a large current to pass through it than usual. So when current flows through the earthing, because the earthing is in contact with the live, because the live is in contact with the metal casing, and then the metal casing is in contact with the earthing. So it's like the earthing is now the live is connected to the earthing. So this will allow a large current to pass through the earthing than usual, and then the breaker will trip, protecting you from being given an electric shock, which can even result into death or electrocution. So that's the function of the earthing. So the earthing provides safety in electrical circuits. It is connected to the metal casing of electrical appliances, and when the live wire comes into contact with the metal casing, a large current flows through the live to earth, hence causing the circuit breaker to trip and cut off the circuit. And in most cases, even the fuse of the appliance blows. For example, if it is in the ring main circuit, you would find that once this happens, even the fuse itself will blow, because the current that will pass through it is larger than usual. So by doing this, the appliance is also being protected from damage. At the same time, you are also being protected from being electrically shocked or even being electrocuted. So this is one of the actually safety measures we use in electric wiring, ensuring that the earthing is properly connected or properly installed. Okay, so what have we looked at in our lesson today? So we started with our outcomes. We said we should describe the basic circuit of a standard house, which we have done. So we looked at the basic circuits of a standard house. We looked at the ring main circuit, the cooker circuit, and the lighting circuit. Then for the ring main circuit, we said the point where we tap off electric power or energy is the socket. So we described what the ring main circuit is, and we went on to look at the lighting circuit, what it is, the cooker circuit. We also looked at the sizes of cables for each one of these circuits so as to avoid overloading the cables. Okay, and then we looked at the 3-pin plug, its structure, and then we looked at the functions of the live, the neutral, the earthing, and we also looked at the color coding for each one of these. So we looked at the fuse and the switch, and we described where these are supposed to be connected. We said they're supposed to be connected along the live and not along the neutral. Then we looked at how to come up with correct fuse rating, and then we looked at the earthing wire or the earth wire. Now you should understand here that the earth wire, sometimes you see it naked outside and you wonder, why is this cable naked? Is it not dangerous? The reason is simple. In a properly wired house, once certified by electricians, if a current flows through an earthing, it will be in a very small fraction of a second, because immediately it flows through the earthing, it means the breaker will drop. So chances of you, even if you touched it, it will just be within a fraction of a second. If it happened that coincidentally by the time you were touching it, current was also flowing through it, it will switch off almost immediately. Okay, so that's the reason why the earthing can be naked and there is no big deal about it, because we know that if current flows through the earthing, the circuit will immediately go off because the breaker will trip. Okay, so after having looked at all these, I have work for you to do. This actually came from 2017 pure physics paper, but do not say this is pure, so for those of you who are taking science you can't do this. No, this is the same thing. Okay, in fact the differences are all just on certain topics. So far what we have been covering is for both pure and physical science, and I'll be mentioning when I feel that this topic is strictly for pure. but for now it's for every. Even if this question came in pure paper, but it can be answered even by those of you who are doing science. Okay, so the question was question 9 in 2017, section, that's paper 2, section B. So a fuse, I just picked part A because part B was about the cost of electricity, which we have not yet done, which we shall do in the second lesson. So a fuse in a 3-pin plug of a 1-plate electric cooker has blown off. Okay, they are giving us a situation. A grade 8 girl changed the plug and connected to the new one as shown in the figure 9.1. So a grade 8 girl decided to change the plug because the plug for because the fuse in a 3-pin plug that was there in this 1-plate cooker was blown off. So she has placed it with this one, replaced it with this one. So we have the fuse here, and this cable here is green yellow. So you should remember what we said here. So you should be able to compare this. Okay, this one is green yellow, this one is blue, okay, and this one is brown. So the first question is, what was wrong with the connections made by the girl? So identify what was wrong here. Okay, compared to what we discussed here, which cable is supposed to go here to the fuse, what will be the color coding. Okay, and that is what is going to help you to answer this question. The first part, 1 mark. Part 2, will the cooker connected to this plug work? Explain your answer. Will the cooker work? Okay, so explain your answer if the cooker is going to work. And then finally, part 3, draw a 3-pin plug showing the correct connections of the wires. So you are going to redo this one, but show the correct connections. You'll be guided by the colors and the ideas that we gathered from this 3-pin plug. Okay, so that's all I had in this lesson. Looking forward to meet you in our next lesson. We will continue with electricity in the home. That time we'll be looking at dangers of electricity. How safe can we be when using electrical appliances? And then we shall look at the cost of electricity. Remember to share these lessons with others who are also writing exams or are simply still at secondary school. Thank you so much. Looking forward to see you.